Octopuses are weird. They can unscrew jars, solve puzzles, open locks, and escape sealed tanks. Not out of panic, but out of curiosity. They have been seen walking on two arms like land creatures, collecting shells and rocks for shelter, and stealing cameras directly from the hands of divers. They can copy other animals, flatten themselves like a flounder, and glide across the seafloor. Spread their arms to imitate the silhouette of a poisonous lionfish, or slither with their body pressed flat, arms trailing in banded patterns, mimicking a sea snake well enough to send predators in the opposite direction. But here is the part that stops scientists in their tracks. This is not a mammal, not a bird, not even a fish. This is a mollusk, a relative of the garden snail and the clam. Soft-bodied, boneless, no skeleton, no protective shell. By every conventional rule of biology, a creature like this should not be capable of any of this. So the question is not simply how smart is an octopus. The question, the one that keeps researchers awake, is far more unsettling than that. How did a creature this different from everything we know end up with a mind like this? A few years ago, a research team filming in the coastal shallows of Indonesia captured a moment that immediately divided the scientific world. An octopus was crossing a wide stretch of open sand, which is already unusual because open sand offers nowhere to hide and nothing to blend into. Then it stopped, reached beneath its own body with two arms, and pulled up the two halves of a discarded coconut shell, half buried in the sediment. It carried those shells. Across open ground, fully exposed, at significant effort and with no immediate reward, not to eat them, not by accident. It carried them because it intended to use them, later, as a portable shelter. When danger eventually arrived, it fitted itself inside the two halves and drew them closed around its body like a pair of doors. The astonishing part was not that the octopus carried a coconut shell. It was that it carried it for later. The animal accepted immediate costs, energy, exposure, and risk for a benefit it could not yet experience. Scientists call this foresight, the ability to imagine a future situation, plan for it, and act in the present. Until this behavior was recorded, foresight was thought to belong only to humans, great apes, and a handful of birds. To understand the octopus mind, it helps to start with how the human brain works, because the octopus took a completely different path. In humans and in all vertebrates, the brain is the command center. Every instruction, every sensation, every decision flows through it. The body does what the brain tells it. Everything is centralized, hierarchical, top-down. The octopus threw that blueprint away entirely. An octopus has around 500 million neurons, roughly the same number as a dog. But 2/3 of those neurons do not sit in the brain. They live in the arms. Each arm contains its own local clusters of neural tissue, its own mini nervous system that can sense, process information, and act completely independently of the central brain. In neurobiology laboratories at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, researchers made a discovery that genuinely stopped scientists in their tracks. When an octopus arm is severed from the body, and octopus arms do regenerate, it does not go limp and still. It continues to explore its surroundings. It responds to touch. It recoils from chemicals it finds unpleasant. It even attempts to pass food upward toward where the mouth used to be. All of this with absolutely no connection to the brain, no instructions being sent, no commands being received. The arm, detached and alone, is making decisions entirely by itself. That level of independence, what neuroscientists call peripheral autonomy, simply does not exist anywhere in the vertebrate world. His system gives octopuses a remarkable advantage. While hunting, their arms probe deep into cracks and crevices where the eyes cannot see. Instead of waiting for instructions from the brain, the arms can identify prey, navigate obstacles, and react instantly on their own. The brain focuses on the bigger picture: memory, navigation, and strategy, while the arms handle the details. And each arm is packed with hundreds of suckers that can both feel and taste. Every time an octopus touches something, it instantly learns its texture and chemical makeup at the same time. In a single touch, it gathers an extraordinary amount of information about the world around it. The octopus eye is one of the most remarkable structures in the natural world, and one of the most deeply confusing. On the surface, it looks remarkably similar to the human eye: a lens, an iris, a layered retina. This similarity is not coincidence. It is one of the most famous examples of what biologists call convergent evolution. Two completely separate branches of life, evolving in total isolation from each other for 600 million years, independently arrived at almost identical solutions to the problem of seeing. The same design reached twice from opposite directions. The octopus eye is so well designed that it avoids a flaw found in every human eye. Humans have a natural blind spot where the optic nerve passes through the retina. Octopuses do not. Their visual field is seamless. They can also see polarized light, allowing them to detect transparent prey, navigate low-contrast environments, and even read hidden signals from other octopuses. But the greatest mystery came from camouflage. Octopuses appear to be colorblind, possessing only one type of visual receptor. By conventional biology, they should not be able to perceive color at all, yet they match complex backgrounds with astonishing accuracy. Researchers eventually discovered light-sensitive proteins embedded throughout octopus skin. The skin itself may detect light and respond directly, helping control camouflage without relying entirely on the eyes. In a sense, an octopus may not just see with its eyes, it may see with its entire body. No animal on Earth changes its appearance as fast, as precisely, or as completely as the octopus. In less than a second, sometimes in a fraction of a second, it can transform its color, its pattern, and even its physical surface texture to match almost any material in the ocean: coral, rock, algae, sand, gravel, shells. The octopus can become all of them. And the mechanism behind that ability is one of the most sophisticated biological systems ever studied. The secret lies in the octopus skin, which operates through three specialized layers. The outer layer contains thousands of chromatophores, tiny pigment sacs controlled by muscles. Acting like biological pixels, they can switch colors and create complex patterns in milliseconds. Beneath them are iridophores, which reflect light using microscopic protein structures to produce shimmering blues, greens, and silvers without any pigment. A third layer, called leucophores, scatters light to create white tones and balance the overall pattern. Together, these layers allow an octopus to instantly generate different camouflage styles: a uniform color for open sand, a mottled pattern for textured environments, or bold disruptive markings that break up its outline and make it nearly impossible to recognize. But color is only part of the illusion. Beneath the skin lies a network of muscles called papillae. These structures can rise from the skin to create spikes, ridges, and rough textures that mimic coral, rock, or algae. The octopus does not simply change color to match its surroundings. It changes shape, texture, and appearance, becoming part of the environment itself. Not all octopuses live on the seafloor. A small but extraordinary group spends its entire life drifting in the open ocean. A world with no rocks to hide behind, no coral to blend into, no sand to sink below. In every direction, the environment is identical: clear, open, featureless water. For a reef octopus, camouflage means matching what is beneath it. For an open ocean octopus, there is nothing beneath it. The only way to disappear in open water is to become the water. That is exactly what the glass octopus did. Vitrellatinella richardi, known as the glass octopus, has evolved a body that is almost entirely transparent. Its skin, its arms, the entire tissue wall of its mantle are constructed from cells with an optical density so precisely matched to surrounding seawater that light passes straight through the body rather than being reflected or absorbed to any predator in the water column below. The glass octopus is effectively absent, not hidden, not camouflaged, simply not visible. Creating a transparent body is far more difficult than it sounds. Every layer of tissue must be carefully structured so that light passes through with almost no distortion. Even the internal organs are compressed into a small cluster and positioned to present the smallest possible silhouette to predators below. The eyes pose an even greater challenge. Because they must contain opaque pigments to detect light, they cannot be fully transparent. In the glass octopus, they are shaped into narrow tubes, minimizing the shadow they cast in the water. What makes this animal so remarkable is that, unlike reef octopuses, its camouflage is not active. There are no chromatophores changing color, no skin patterns switching on and off. Its transparency is permanent, built directly into the structure of its body through millions of years of evolution. The result is one of nature's most fascinating contrasts. Reef octopuses avoid detection by constantly changing their appearance. Glass octopuses avoid detection by almost disappearing altogether. Same problem. Two completely different solutions, both astonishingly effective. The mimic octopus takes camouflage to an entirely different level. It is the only known animal that can impersonate multiple different species, reshaping its body, changing its colors, and copying specific movements to convince predators that it is something else entirely. What surprised researchers most was that the mimicry is not random. When threatened by damselfish, which avoid sea snakes, the octopus specifically imitates a sea snake rather than one of its other disguises. That is what makes this behavior so extraordinary. Most animals use the same defensive display every time. The mimic octopus appears to choose the disguise best suited to the predator it is facing. To do that, it must identify the threat, select the appropriate response from memory, and transform its entire body within seconds. For a soft-bodied animal with no skeleton and no fixed shape, it is one of the most remarkable displays of intelligence in the ocean. There is a prevailing idea in biology about why intelligence evolves. It is called the social brain hypothesis, and for a long time, it seemed convincing. The most cognitively sophisticated animals identified, chimpanzees, elephants, dolphins, crows, all share one key feature. They live in complex long-term social groups. They track relationships, navigate hierarchies, cooperate on tasks, deceive rivals, and communicate with nuance. The hypothesis holds that it is the pressure of managing all that social complexity that drives the evolution of a large and sophisticated brain. The octopus does not fit that framework at all, and its existence forces a serious rethink of the entire hypothesis. Octopuses are almost entirely solitary. They do not hunt together. They do not form groups. The female guards her eggs alone, refusing to eat for the entire duration, sometimes weeks, and dies shortly after they hatch. Her offspring disperse immediately and never know her. There is no family structure, no social hierarchy, no cooperation of any kind. The octopus navigates its entire life in isolation. Cephalopod researchers studying the evolution of mollusk cognition have proposed an alternative explanation. The pressure that drove octopus intelligence was not social, it was ecological. The environments octopuses occupy are among the most structurally complex on Earth. Coral reefs, rocky coastlines threaded with crevices, kelp forests dense with moving parts. Every hunt presents a new spatial problem. Every prey item demands a different strategy. Crabs require the ability to crack and pry open armored shells. Fish require speed, tactical positioning, and the ability to anticipate movement. Bivalves require sustained, patient mechanical force applied in exactly the right place. Each prey type is a different puzzle, and the octopus must solve each one largely on its own. No parent to observe, no social group to learn from, no accumulated cultural knowledge to draw on. The ocean is, in that sense, a continuous and relentless intelligence test. And the octopus has been passing it for 300 million years. There is also the matter of predators. A soft-bodied animal with no shell, no skeleton, and no physical armor of any kind is deeply vulnerable in an ocean full of faster, stronger animals. Sharks, eels, moray, dolphins. Physical defense is simply not available. The only meaningful protection is the mind. Camouflage to avoid detection. Mimicry to deter approach. Escape routes planned and memorized in advance. The octopus did not evolve intelligence in spite of its physical vulnerability. It evolved intelligence because of it. Cleverness was the only armor available. In research facilities around the world, octopuses have been documented opening childproof medication bottles, navigating mazes with multiple decision points, solving sequential mechanical puzzles, and demonstrating what can only be described as individual personality, responding consistently with warmth toward specific familiar keepers. At a New Zealand aquarium, one individual became so reliably systematic in escaping its sealed tank at night, navigating to an adjacent shark enclosure, hunting, and returning before morning, that the facility was eventually forced to install motion-activated sensors as a direct response to that single animal's behavior. The octopus adapted. It began moving more slowly near the sensors. Researchers at the Stazione Zoologica Anton Dorn in Naples conducted trials in which naive octopuses, animals with no prior experience of a specific task, were allowed to watch trained individuals solve a novel problem, opening a container to access food inside. The observers then solved the same problem significantly faster than control animals who had watched nothing. That is observational learning, acquiring usable knowledge by watching another individual, a capacity typically documented in social species, because in social species, observation is constant and valuable. The octopus has it despite being entirely solitary. It learns from watching. It simply rarely gets the opportunity. Intelligence evolved twice on Earth. That is not a poetic statement or a figure of speech. It is the conclusion that the evidence demands. On one branch of the tree of life, complex minds emerge gradually from social primates with large centralized brains, long developmental childhoods, deep family bonds, and thousands of generations of accumulated cultural knowledge. On a completely separate branch, one that diverged from the first 600 million years ago, a boneless, solitary, short-lived mollusk developed the ability to plan, to deceive, to learn, to play, to become invisible, and to impersonate other animals with targeted precision. It did not take the same path. It did not use the same tools. It did not build the same kind of mind. And that is the most significant fact of all. Not that it is intelligent, but that it got there from somewhere completely different, through a completely different route, under completely different pressures. The German biologist Jakob von Uexküll proposed that every animal experiences its own unique version of reality, a perceptual world he called the Umwelt. For humans, that world is shaped by vision, language, and social connection. For an octopus, it is something entirely different, a world tasted through hundreds of suckers, a world where arms can make decisions on their own, a world where the body can become a rock, a fish, a snake, or almost disappear altogether. And perhaps that is the most remarkable lesson of all. The octopus forces a question that scientists are still trying to answer. What does it mean to think? The octopus does not tell us what intelligence is. It shows us that intelligence is far larger, far stranger, and far more diverse than we ever believed. And it has been quietly proving that beneath the waves for hundreds of millions of years.